risk together and are so close, Adam feels that it's fair to give them 1/3 of the cash prize so that 1, we're not going on this journey of a new life alone, and 2, it's suspicious to make all this money suddenly, and it's more easily explained if Tim makes the money as well since we do everything together. However, I feel that it's risky to share with him that we've come into this money because Tim's family tends to be more flashy and like showing off. And I don't fully trust that they'll keep it quiet or be modest enough to not raise suspicion. This is important because I've seen community members harass and attack people with far less money just because they feel entitled to it. This could jeopardize our safety, so I want to avoid it if at all possible. Also, I'm not really comfortable with my husband's plan to add Tim and his wife as members of our LLC to claim the prize. Adam thinks that I'm being selfish, and he won't enjoy our newfound wealth if his friend isn't living the same lifestyle. But I think that we could find a way later to give them some money after figuring out a way to explain how we came into the money without telling them that we won the lottery. Anyway, am I the butthole for not wanting to tell them we won the lottery and splitting the money? Am I selfish? So before I get into the commentary, I just wanted to say that I dug through OP's comments, and unfortunately, she doesn't say how much money they won. She doesn't even give us a ballpark. Are we talking millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions? I got no idea. Now, that being said, if your husband wants to give some money to his friend or buy him a new car, I think that's kind of understandable. But to give him 1/3 of the earnings is bonkers. Even if I were on your husband's side, and I'm not, then the most you could rationally expect is 25%, not 33%. 33% implies that the friend is equal to both you and your husband in your marriage, which is not the case. So I don't know where you are and what the laws are legally, but my guess is that once you claim the money, effectively it's half yours and half your husband's. If your husband wants to take his half of the money and give it to his friend, then that's his prerogative, I guess. Personally, I think that you two should agree on this as a couple before you give anyone any money, but that's just me. So OP, I'm giving you 0 out of 5 buttholes. I'm not really sure about this. I'm giving your husband somewhere between 2 and 4 out of 5 buttholes. I'm really not sure on this one. OP, I think the really telling thing would be to suggest to your husband that you keep 25%, your husband keeps 25%, the friend keeps 25%, and then you give 25% to, whoever, your sister or your friend or to charity or whatever, and see how he responds to that. If he gets really upset and says, "How dare you give away my money to someone else?" then okay, we have a hypocrite on our hands. But if he's actually supportive, then that would give more credibility to his argument. I don't know, man. I don't know where to come down on this one. I think what I'm ultimately going to say is that every couple should make major financial decisions together, and if you don't consent to doing this, then you don't consent, and it's as simple as that. So that means your husband has to respect your wishes. That's what me and my wife do. We have a spending limit of $500. Either one of us can buy whatever we want under that limit, but if we buy anything that's $501, we have to talk to the other person and get permission first. Not really permission, that makes it sound bad. We just have to agree and show respect and be like, "Hey, I want to buy this thing. I want to make sure you're okay with it." And, the answer is always yes. But when you bring your partner's feelings into the equation and make sure everyone's on the same page, that shows respect and understanding. So I think I'm going to land on giving the husband 3.5 out of 5 buttholes for the audacity. I don't know. What do you guys think on this one? I'm feeling a little lost here. Am I the butthole for canceling my brother's wedding? I'm a 27-year-old woman. My brother, 30, met his future wife, Ella, who's 28, at a party 3 years ago. Honestly, me and Ella never got along, but I always tried to put up a peaceful front because my brother seemed blissfully happy with her. Ella was mean to me a lot. Like, a lot. She would make comments about my weight, my makeup, and especially my dog. She hated animals and hated that I would bring my lab, Toast, to my parents' or my brother's house. It always just felt like something aimed to hurt me. When the two got engaged, Ella asked me to be her maid of honor since she has no sisters or many girlfriends. Since my brother seemed thrilled, I obliged. What I failed to realize when I accepted the role was that to Ella, being her maid of honor meant planning the entire wedding. Like, I was booking venues, florists, jazz bands, everything. Even worse, she expected me to put my credit card down for all of it. My brother and her aren't exactly well off, and since I have a well-paying job, I didn't mind holding the deposits. But it was really starting to add up to a lot. Every time I asked Ella about it, she would say that it would all be paid back by her parents before the wedding. Well, fast forward to last week, about 3 weeks before the wedding, and Ella is unbearable to be around. She can't last more than a few sentences before snapping at anyone. So, of course, when I brought up the money, the shit hit the fan. I asked if she had received the updated receipt of everything that was owed, and she exploded. She called me a whole line of terrible names, but the one that stuck out was her saying, "What do you need the money for anyway? Your sick dog is dead now." My beautiful Toasty died about a month before this, after he fought the bravest battle with cancer. He was my soul dog, and I was devastated. I blinked at her and simply left the room, having no energy to respond to something so cruel. I went back to my car, and after a silent 20-minute drive home, I parked the car and immediately called the vendors and canceled any deposit under my card. Every single one. After almost 20 calls, all that was left of her wedding was the dress and the flower arch. I texted my brother a short explanation. I told him that every vendor would be contacting him if they wished to keep their services, and they were now responsible for covering everything, and that I would no longer be attending. It was only a matter of minutes before my phone started blowing up, and I just turned it off. It's been a few days, and I haven't talked to anyone but my mom, who thankfully understands where I was coming from. My brother has tried to call me, but I just feel terrible, both about what I did and about what she said. I know what I did was extreme, but I also couldn't sit by and practically enable her cruelty anymore. I still can't help but feel bad for ruining my brother's big day. So, I don't know, am I the butthole for this? OP, we need to correct a typo. You said, am I the butthole for canceling my brother's wedding? Let's be clear, it's not really your brother's wedding at this point. It's your wedding because you're the one who's organizing and paying for it. And how exactly is it problematic for you to cancel your card and to transfer the services to their card? Because isn't that what they said they were going to do anyways? So really, what it sounds like is Ella was planning on manipulating you into paying for her wedding, and now that you're not falling for it, she's mad at you. Honestly, OP, I'm proud of you for finally standing up for yourself. While I can understand being stressed before a wedding, there's a difference between being stressed and saying such an awful thing to someone. I'm giving you 0 out of 5 buttholes. I'm giving Ella 3.5 out of 5 buttholes. Also, really quick, OP posted a very long update, which I'm not going to read, but the short of it is that when OP's brother found out what Ella said to OP, he apparently became extremely upset at Ella. They're now currently on a break, and he even asked for the ring back. Also, Ella had told OP's brother that she was waiting for a surprise check from her grandparents to completely pay off the wedding, but that check didn't exist. Thankfully, when OP mentioned the threat of legal action, Ella's family agreed to sell her wedding dress to pay OP back for what she'd spent so far. Am I the butthole for not wanting my polycule parents at my wedding? Polycule? What the hell is a polycule? Is it like polyamorous? Okay, a polycule, for those who don't know, including me, is a relationship involving more than 2 people where every single person is romantically involved with every other person. Okay, today I learned, I guess. My parents are in a polycule relationship with a man. I've always been mildly uncomfortable with it, just due to a variety of features about the whole thing. For starters, the man is as young as I am, and he basically now lives in my former room growing up. Whoa, that is weird. Okay, sorry, okay, look, guys, I don't want to seem like I'm against polyamorous relationships. If you're into that, you're into that. It's just, yo, having your parents' boy toy sleeping in your childhood bed is weird. I don't say anything about it, as it's their life and they can live it the way they like, but, and I'll be completely honest here, all of it sort of discomforts me. Nevertheless, I have my own life and I still love them, and I try not to think about that in any capacity. They're happy and that's good for them. With that background out of the way, I'm getting married soon and I wanted my parents to be there, of course. They were happy for me and it was great. Then my significant other and I got to arranging everything for the wedding, and we eventually began arranging for the seating. I wanted to run my seating plan by my parents since they know some of these people better than I do, so I emailed it to them and asked them to look it over. They looked it over and then they called me and said that I had missed a seat for Dave, their significant other. I told them that I didn't think that Dave would be coming. They said they would all be coming, and I said I'm not sure if that's a good idea. I tried to gently tiptoe around the issue and tell them not to bring Dave, but they were insistent, so I was frank with them. I told them I was uncomfortable with Dave coming and I wanted to share my special day with them, not Dave. I tried to explain why I didn't think that it was appropriate. At this point, things took a turn for the worse. We had a back and forth, which basically devolved into a fight. Eventually, they basically said that they'd much rather just not come if they couldn't come as a couple. I, in a moment of anger, then said, "Great, then don't come," in a passive-aggressive tone. I haven't talked to my parents since then. In a way, I feel like they've changed so much from when I was young. I still love them and I still wanted them to come, but all of this is just not how I imagined my wedding going. It's their life to live, but this is my wedding. It's supposed to be about me and my significant other surrounded by people that we cherish. Dave and I have no relationship. He's a stranger to me, and respectfully, I genuinely am completely fine with that. I want my parents to come, but if they want to bring Dave, I'd much rather they just don't. I love them, but I don't want Dave there, so MIP clarifies that none of the guests in her wedding are allowed to bring a +1. You're either invited or not. Okay, so the whole polycule situation does kind of add another level of complexity to the situation, but I think deep down, this is simply an issue of, is OP allowed to not invite someone to her wedding who she doesn't even know? OP doesn't have a relationship with Dave, nor does OP's significant other. So if OP doesn't want to invite Dave, then that feels pretty reasonable to me. I don't really understand why OP's parents are trying to die on this hill. If we remove the whole polycule relationship and just made it so, let's suppose OP's parents are divorced, and her dad has been single, and her dad just started dating this woman, but OP doesn't really know her dad's girlfriend, and then OP doesn't want to invite her dad's girlfriend to the wedding because she doesn't really know the girlfriend. That feels very reasonable and understandable to me. So I'm on your side, OP. I'm giving you 0 out of 5 buttholes. I'm giving your parents 1.5 out of 5 buttholes because, yeah, they can live their life however they want, but why are they putting their boyfriend, who doesn't even have a relationship with their daughter, above their daughter's wedding? Am I the butthole for making my sister cry since I quizzed her on her knowledge because she wants to homeschool her kid? I'm gonna get it out of the way and say that I do not like homeschooling. I think it's almost impossible to do it correctly on social and educational development. And this is coming from someone who went to an awful public school. So my sister was talking about homeschooling her kid. She said that her and her husband would teach her. My sister and her husband are not the brightest people, much more physically labor people than understanding math. I tried to ask if that was a good idea, but she basically said, "How hard can it be?" So I started quizzing her, and these were not hard questions. For example, I asked her what a verb was, to name the planets, and simple math problems. Like, literally, I asked her to do division. She could only name a few planets, and she gave the definition for an adjective, not a verb. Also, she was just completely wrong with the math. It was kinda sad. I told her the right answer, and I asked her, if she can't do this, then how will she teach the kid to read or do any math? She called me a jerk and left to cry. Her husband is up my butt about it, but my mom thinks that it's a blessing. Am I the butthole? I'm questioning myself. I'm on your side, OP. Your sister is woefully underqualified for this. This is true not just for homeschooling, but for any job. If she said, "I'm going to be a professional boxer," but she's like 4'8" and has never worked out in her life, I think that also makes sense to be like, okay, are you sure? Let's talk about this because maybe this is a stupid idea. OP, you get 0 out of 5 buttholes. I'm also giving your sister 0 out of 5 buttholes because she's not really mean or wrong. She's just dumb. She's a dummy dumb, unfortunately. That was r/Am I the Butthole. And if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day. Welcome to r/Best of Redditor Updates, where OP's boyfriend almost murders her over milk. Our next Reddit post comes from r/True Off My Chest. I live with my boyfriend, and we've had conflicts now for over 5 months because of milk. Approximately 6 months ago, I found out that I'm lactose intolerant, and it made me change all my diet to avoid stomachache and nausea, which is working pretty well. I don't expect my boyfriend to change his diet to accommodate me, so we've been buying our own groceries to not impact one another. In my country, plant-based milk and lactose-free products are very expensive, but since I love my cheese and milk, I buy it anyways. The problem is that my partner eats it all when I'm not home and doesn't replace it by buying more. I don't mind sharing food, but it's really disrespectful of him to not leave some for me. He knows that lactose is something my stomach can't handle, but he still eats and drinks my products when I'm not around. It's made us fight a lot, and it's been going on for 5 months now. This morning, seeing less than 100 milliliters of my almond milk left made me go absolutely crazy. I had just worked a 10-hour shift at the hospital, and I just wanted a latte. He keeps saying that it's not a big deal, but the fact that he chooses to consume my stuff and refuses to admit his mistakes makes it unbearable. How my boyfriend treats me is absolutely outrageous, and it's made me realize that he doesn't treat me as an equal or respect me. I can't take it anymore. I bought a plane ticket to return to my parents' home. Then OP writes her boyfriend a breakup letter and she shares it in the post, which I'm gonna skip over.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video and so you don't miss a video when one comes out. So, first off, if you don't already have Blender, you can get it by going to Google and scroll button. So I'm going, let's call it my awesome object. Import your mesh into here. We're gonna go into workspace, get a mesh part, and we're gonna go ahead and look for mesh ID. I'm just gonna click that, and you should
She leaves the letter for her boyfriend to find. Then, 3 days later, OP posted an update. While my ex-boyfriend was at college, me and my 4 friends packed up my stuff. The only thing I left behind was our engagement ring, photos, and the house keys. I left the heavy and big stuff at my friend's house, and she'll be shipping it to my parents' home. While I traveled, I kept my phone off, and eventually I arrived at my home city. Today, when I finally turned my phone on, there was more than 74 calls from him. The messages range between begging me to come home to talk it out, to threatening to expose my nudes, to telling everyone about my ADHD, to threatening to find me and make me regret it. This made me quite afraid, so I showed my parents these text messages. We're planning to spend several days at our beach home in another state until it's safe and get a police report. I don't know what'll happen after I file a report because in our country, Brazil, the police force is worthless. Then, 6 days later, OP posted another update. In my last update, I told you that I was traveling to my family's beach house and it saved my life. Before leaving, I told the building administration that my ex wasn't allowed to enter the condominium since he's a threat. This morning, my parents received a call from the doorman saying they called the police because my ex-boyfriend showed up and tried to find me. He was able to enter the building since I forgot to delete his Face ID. But fortunately, this monster was stopped at reception. At first, he tried to talk to the staff saying that it was all a misunderstanding and that we're back together, but they asked for proof and this idiot couldn't even provide it. He became very violent and tried to attack the staff, so they called the cops. When the cops searched through his bag, they found a pair of knives, gloves, and plastic bags. Now he's in police custody. I'm still shaken up at the possibility of me being murdered by him, so this will be my final update since we'll be suing him. The fact that all of this was caused by milk is really shocking because it made me see that the man I almost married is a monster. Wow. I feel like we're on a... I'm noticing a pattern, guys. First we have the guy who almost crashed the car with his wife over an argument about mustard. Then we have the guy who's obsessed with pizza, and now we have Milkman, who has to drink almond milk. What's with all these dudes who are trying to murder their girlfriend slash wife over mustard slash pizza slash milk? Our next Reddit post comes from r/am I the bad guy. Am I the bad guy for not supporting my girlfriend's sister? I've been with my girlfriend, who's 27, for 5 years. She loves her sister a ton, which is a good thing because I believe in supporting and helping your siblings as long as it doesn't ruin your own life. We just made the down payment on a house in the suburbs of a large city, so we have a mortgage. I'm a 28-year-old guy, and I work in tech as a software developer with a master's degree in computer science. I make quite a lot of money, so money issues have never come up. My girlfriend doesn't work, but she does do chores and cooking around the house. We both agreed to this. I was planning to propose to my girlfriend next year, but a problem arose about 2 years ago. For the last 2 years, probably longer, my girlfriend has been sending money to her younger sister, Emily. Emily got pregnant at 20 years old. She works as a waitress. The father is bouncing from job to job. Emily says that he's very lazy. He'll disappear for hours at a time without telling Emily where he's going or what he's doing. Emily has asked my girlfriend on several occasions for money. My girlfriend, being the nice and sweet person she is, says yes all the time. It started off as paying for diapers, no problem. Then baby clothes, which is also no problem. Then daycare, which I just brushed off. I talked with my girlfriend, saying that we can't always pay for everything and that helping out with a couple of things is okay. My girlfriend reassured me and said that she would stop sending money as soon as they got back on their feet, which is fine. One day, I hired a financial planner. The next day, I got an email saying that my account had sent out approximately $50,000 over the last 10 months. And currently, I only have $20,000 sitting in my account. I talked with my girlfriend and she apologized and said that she knew that I wouldn't want to keep sending her sister money and how she just cares about her sister. As it turns out, we've been paying for everything: insurance, rent, car payment, daycare, clothing for all 3 of them, dinners, dates, and going out expenses. It is partly my fault because I never check my bank account. My girlfriend shows me text messages between her and Emily saying that she needs the money. I then noticed a pattern where Emily would say, "Hey, can you send me money? I don't have money for blank." And of course, my girlfriend says yes. Then she would talk to me. I would say no, don't send the money, and my girlfriend would say that she won't send the money. Then, the very next day, my girlfriend sends them $1,000 for like car repairs or whatever. I talk with my girlfriend, and we get into an argument where she says that she'll help out her sister no matter what. I understand that, to an extent. We argue, trying to understand each other's point of view. As stated before, I did have $20,000 in my account, but now I'm down to $19,000. But what about next time and the time after that? My girlfriend then decides that she needs some time alone and that she'll be at her mother's for the time being. Now I'm all alone in this house that I thought that I would live in with the girl of my dreams. Okay, the post ends here, but why don't we give a butthole score? OP, you are not the bad guy here. Your girlfriend literally stole $50K from you, and you say it's your fault because you never check your bank account? No, that's like saying it's your fault that your house got robbed because you left the window unlocked. No, you know whose fault it is that you got robbed? The robber's fault. Sending $50K over 10 months? That's insane! That's a full-blown salary. Your girlfriend is sending her sister a $60,000 a year salary for free, without talking to you, without letting you know, without permission, just stealing your money. Opie, this is some of the most clear-cut deal-breaker behavior that I've ever seen. I have to wonder if she even likes you, or if she's just dating you because you're an easy mark. Please dump this girl, OP. Your girlfriend gets 4 out of 5 bad guys. And in my opinion, you guys might think this is too harsh. I think she honestly deserves to be in jail. $50K? If you steal $50K from a store or your employer or the bank, you're going to jail. So why should a boyfriend or a girlfriend get a pass for stealing $50K from their partner? They shouldn't. Then the next day, OP posted an update. OP clarifies that he makes about $150,000 a year as a lead software developer. He also says that as someone with no dogs, kids, or any major responsibilities besides himself and his girlfriend, he never checks his account. He says, "I'm more sad by the betrayal than the money. money will come back, but time will never come back. 5 whole years, my proposal plan, my life plan, my future kids that I dreamed about with her, just gone. All those things we've said to each other, all the late night wine drunk games that we spent, all the dates, all the flowers I gave her. I really tried with all my power to be the best man that she can have. I would have trusted her with my life. And what do I get back? $50K just gone. Then, 8 days later, OP posted an update. My girlfriend is now my ex-girlfriend. We met at a local coffee shop, and I told her that things wouldn't work out for us, and she went absolutely ballistic. She caused a scene, begging me not to end it. It did hurt me to see her like this, but after a couple of weeks to give it some thought, I wouldn't want a wife who's a liar and one that I couldn't trust financially. I put a $100 bill on the table and left, but she followed me down to my car. She begged me and told me that she wouldn't send any more money to her sister and how she would do anything for us to be together. It was hard, but I stayed strong. She came by to pick up her belongings the other day, and I almost had to call the cops because she wouldn't leave. She tried everything from adult favors, begging, crying. Then it turned to screaming that I ruined her life, to even saying that without her, I wouldn't have gotten to where I am now because of her support. I stayed strong, and when she left, I just broke down sobbing. For those wondering, I'm not gonna press charges because all I want is for her to leave me alone. I don't want anything to do with her. I don't ever want to see her face again. The money will come back as it's just me, a house, and 2 paid off cars. It does get lonely, so I'm thinking of getting a puppy. Man, OP, all this time your girlfriend was trying to get into your pants. Turns out it's because that's where you keep your wallet. Okay, so on a more positive note, OP, I gotta say, you sound like an absolute catch. You're trusting, you're caring, you're romantic, you're giving. Clearly, you're intelligent because of your job.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another video for that. And for the top hat and the head itself, export front.obj or of course FBX. I personally use FBX way more, and I'll show you guys why in this video. So let me export both of these. It's the same spot, wavefront OBJ. Now a very important thing while you're exporting, you're going to want to check this box, selected only. Then it's not going to export all that extra J. Now a very important thing while you're exporting, you're going to file, export, and then wavefront.obj or of course FBX. I personally use FBX way more, and I'll show you guys why in this video. So let me export both of these. It's the same spot, wavefront OBJ. Now a very important thing while you're exporting, you're going to want to check this box, selected only. Then it's not going to export all that extra stuff that you don't really need in your model. Now we'll do the same as an FBX, and we will call this test, selected objects, and export. Now that we have our 2 tests that you don't really need in your model. Now we'll do the same as an FBX, and we will call this test, selected objects, and export. Now that we have our 2 test objects, I'm going to show you guys 3 ways to import on a Roblox. Click insert object, and then you need a mesh part right here. And now that you have your mesh part, you got to go over to it, go find your file down here, and then we open it up right here. Your mesh contains location data, mesh part right here. And now that you have your mesh part, you gotta go over to it, go find your file down here, and then we open it up right here, insert object, and then you need a mesh part right here. And now that you have your mesh part, you gotta go over to it, go find your file down here, and then we open here, right click, insert object, and then you need a mesh part. Right here. And now that you have your mesh part, you gotta go over to it, go find your file down here, and then we open it up right here. Your mesh contains location data. Would you like, yeah, R1 item. That is now the new way to import. Ours is test. Let's click open. Ours is test. Let's click this button. Go find what you want to import. We'll color it black. Now the new way to import is just click this button. Go find what you want to import. import, ours is pt2. Find your model, ours is test. And this is the newest way on Roblox. There's a lot more options. We could change hat, the band for the top hat, and the head itself. What we're gonna do is select all of this, and I'm gonna export it as an FBX and as an OBJ. To export an item, you're gonna wanna select all of the item or items, file, export, and then wavefront.obj, or of course FBX. I personally use FBX way more, and I'll show you guys why in this video. So let me export both of these. It's the same spot, wavefront OBJ. Now, a very important thing while you're exporting, you're gonna wanna check this box, selected only. Then it's not gonna export all that extra stuff that you don't really need in your model. Now we'll do the same as an FBX, and we will call this test, selected objects, and export. Now that we have our two test objects, I'm gonna show you guys 3 ways to import on Roblox. One that people are still using to this day for 0 reason at all. You have to go to your workspace, right click, insert object, and then you need a mesh part right here. And now that you have your mesh part, you gotta go over to it, go find your file down here, and then we open it up right here. Your mesh contains location data. Would you like? Yeah, go ahead. Why not? And there we go. We finally have our mesh. This was the OBJ, and as you can see in Roblox, all of these are one item. That's not good, okay? Up next, my favorite method is right here, the asset manager. If you don't see this tab, no worries. Click on view, and then right up here, you can check asset manager, and there's this that is bulk import. Let's go ahead and name this model old way. And we'll color it black. Now, the new way to import is just click this button, go find what you want to import. Ours is test. Let's click open and apply all. Then we can just close this out, right click right here, insert with location, and here is our item. Now, these are both OBJs, and we'll get into what an FBX does in just a second. The last way to import, just to wrap that one up, is click this home button, import 3D, find your model, ours is test, and this is the newest way on Roblox. There's a lot more options. We could change the name here. We can import only as a model, add model to inventory, no. Insert in workspace, yes. All of these other things, we can set it to anchored. And then there's all this stuff too, which I don't really ever get into. But a cool part is, when you have an FBX file, you can select which parts you want to import. Kinda cool. We'll just click import so you guys can see how that works. Success. And there we go. That is the main 3 ways to import. Now, let's import the FBX file using any of these 3 ways. I'm gonna use my favorite, aka this one right here, bulk import. And let me show you the difference there. Actually, it might be cool to use the 3D import. And check this out. This is an FBX file. As you can see, we have a lot more options here because it's everything. We even have this viewport. So right here is
Watching haters wonder why can't be no got the game, half-tied thicky, all she wanna do is bang, got her hair done, French braids, now she ASAP. Me know so insensitive, she asking why you say that. I'm chillin', real nigga feelin', rich kid asshole, paint me as a villain. Still spittin' that cash flow, DJ Khaled. I got penthouse on both coasts, PH balance. Real nigga, I rep those. Why though? Cause I said so. Get deep in that Pepto. I got 5 on it like Benfolds. I got more tail than that Petco. You faker than some sweet and low. Yeah, you got some silverware, but really, are you eating up? Are you eating up? Nigga, are you eating up? Breakfast, lunch, and dinners for beginners. You ain't even know. Never catching cases, why they faces look so emo. Watch a hater hate me